Hey man, we're on the clock here. We just traded with the Raiders. We're gonna make you a Houston Texan. How you like that?
Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, let's
let's
go. You
do it.
got the best tackle in the draft, dog.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of The Lead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. Today, we are going to be talking about the Texans' offensive line plans, a little bit about Ariante Ursary as well, and where the Houston Texans see it all happening. The O-line prediction will come a little bit later in this video. And yes, this is a few days ago, but I was sick for a few days, so I'm going to be playing some catch up here in this video, and we're going to be getting into DeMeco Ryans talking about this offensive line, talking about Ariante Ursary specifically right here, right now. Without further ado, Ariante Ursary, number 79 for the Houston Texans. As we all know, drafted with the 48th pick in the draft, the Houston Texans decided to trade up in this previous draft and go ahead and get who could be their backup tackle or maybe their tackle for this coming year. Still up in the air, considering you have Cam Robinson you just signed, you have Blake Fisher, you signed Trent Brown, you have Titus Howard who could also play at tackle. There's many options for the Houston Texans, and as we all know, competition has been the name of the game for this offensive line room, and it has been the name of the game really for the entire Houston Texans 2-year tenure so far, going into year 3 with DeMeco Ryans. It's always been about competition. And this Texans O-line room, as much as the expectations were high this previous year, the regular season prevailed to show that the O-line was nowhere near as good as we originally had thought. So going into this year, as we know, we signed Cam Robinson, we traded away Laramie Tunsil, we drafted Ariante Ursary, we signed Trent Brown, you signed Lincoln Tomlinson, you traded away Ed Ingram. You traded away Kenyon Green, you traded for Ed Ingram, correction there. There's so many moving parts on the offensive line, and I understand the numerous amount of worries and concerns for the Texans offensive line. But the Texans themselves seem confident that with new offensive coordinator Nick Caley, new offensive lines coach Cole Popovich, that both of these guys are going to have more preparation and more adequate, to say the least, than Bobby Slowick and previous O-lines coach Chris Strausser. Now, I mentioned preparation. If anybody missed it, you could always check out my videos here on The Lead Houston all the time. One of my latest videos, a little bit older, but still relative to this one, Devin McCourty from the New England Patriots was on with Chris Sims, former quarterback who is working for NBC. You can find that video right here. Devin McCourty mentioned his time with New England and talked about the level of preparation that they had every week, especially in the 1 year where they had a shuffling offensive line room. Talked very highly of Josh McDaniels. And by the way, Nick Caley was there during that time. Cole Popovich was there during that time. All right. Nick Caserio was there during that time. Jerry Shuplinski, who is one of the other coaches on staff that you brought from the LA Rams, also with the Patriots during that time. The Houston Texans are going to attack awareness, preparation levels, and overall, what they hope, better coaching from their OC and O-line, and trying to get that one voice, as DeMeco Ryans mentioned before. The drafting of Ariante Ursary has been very much a pleasing draft pick. And as we know, there is still some uncertainty as to whether or not he is going to be the starter or is he going to be a backup. Now, we all know that they did trade up for him and they did give up a pretty plenty. Again, number 79, Ursary, he's huge, 6'6", 330 plus. And he is somebody that the Texans are going to be having some plans for, but specifically, they're going to be having plans for him at the tackle position. I know a lot of fans, especially in my comment section, have been wondering if he could be moved to guard at 6'6", 330. Not seems like the case. and especially coming out of D'Amico Ryan's mouth right here.
Adding Ursery to our team through the draft, really liked this team in college at tackle. He played left tackle, so we'll start him out at tackle and see how he does there. My vision for him is always he can help us at tackle.
As you heard there, D'Amico Ryans mentioned his vision for Ariante Ursery. He always sees him as a tackle. So Ursery, considering they signed Cam Robinson, to me, that's your left tackle. The right tackle position right now is, to me, up for grabs for the competition, whether it's Blake Fisher, whether it's Trent Brown, and once he gets healthy, and whether it's Ariante Ursery, the newest draft pick, who knows? Blake Fisher, to me, has a leg up in this competition, considering this is his second year and he's going into it. Maybe that's the guy that's leading the job so far, but would not shock me if the rookie Ariante Ursery turned some heads and got that starting nod. Ariante Ursery grew up impoverished. This is a guy that's been fighting for everything in his life. And as we heard a few days ago, D'Amico Ryan said it. He is not waiting for rookies. He is not waiting on guys 3 years down the road. He wants his rookies to perform. If they were the man in college, then be the man here on this football team. As we saw, Kamari Lassiter last year just came in and immediately took the starting number 2 job at cornerback and thrived in plenty amounts of opportunities. We saw Kalen Bullock as early as the first game of the season against the Indianapolis Colts, picked off Anthony Richardson and made a name for himself throughout the whole season. Still has to clean up some stuff. Those were 2 rookies right there that made their impact for this football team just last year. Why not Ariante Ursery? We all know Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel can be those same guys that can make that just as much impact as maybe Lassiter and Kalen Bullock did. But Ursery could be another one that could be making a name for himself on this Houston Texans offensive line room. A great superlative here from Todd McShay. He is predicting that in 2029, Ariante Ursery could end up being one of the best offensive tackles that came out of this class. That's great praise, especially considering Todd McShay, former ESPN scout analyst, still has a YouTube channel. I'd highly recommend checking it out. But he talked very highly of Ariante Ursery, and I'm excited to see where he's going to be able to be on this offensive line, because my prediction so far for the O-line, it's just a prediction, don't hold me to it, but left tackle to me is Cam Robinson. Your left guard is Titus Howard. Your center, to me, it's still between Juice Scruggs, Jarrett Patterson. They did bring in Jake Andrews. Jake Andrews has a relationship here, considering he's a former New England Patriot. Nick Caley knows him. Shuplinski knows him. Popovich knows him. Nick Caserio knows him. So these guys are going to be pretty familiar with him, and let's see what happens there. Eli Cox, undrafted free agent, I still think that he is going to make a push for, obviously he could be on the practice squad, but who knows? He is a little versatile, but he is known for being a center at Kentucky. Again, Eli Cox, the undrafted guy, has a relationship too with this Houston Texans team. The assistant offensive lines coach, Zach Yenser, was with Kentucky when Eli Cox was there. So there's a slight relationship there that helps Eli Cox out just a bit. Still think he is a practice squad guy at the end of the day. We can't forget Ladarius Henderson. Ladarius Henderson from Michigan, not a center, but could be competing for what is the next position that is hard to try to grasp, is the right guard spot. I don't know who is going to be fit there. At center, I still feel like Juice Scruggs is going to be that guy, considering how high Nick Caserio talked about him. But Jarrett Patterson did play well at the end of his year there. Juice Scruggs played pretty good at guard. Do they see him more as a guard than they do a center? I don't know entirely, but what I do know is there has been so much praise around Ladarius Henderson's name that I could easily see him vying for that spot. They also traded for Ed Ingram, so he's going to be thrown in the mix there as well. Again, competition is the name of the game for the offensive line room. And then right tackle. For right now at right guard, I'm going to say Scruggs. I am. I'm going to say the Texans go with their best 5, and maybe Scruggs is that best 5. Maybe he's better at guard. Who knows? But right tackle is going to be the fun one here. I am still torn between Blake Fisher and Ariante Ursery. I don't believe Trent Brown has a lot left in the tank. I think he's more of just a veteran backup that is more of a leader for that offensive line room, as well as the other veterans that you brought in. Lincoln Tomlinson can play left guard and hasn't seen him at right guard. He is pretty old now. Would be a very good backup for the Houston Texans, but I do think Titus Howard wins that left guard spot. Right tackle is still up in the air for me, but as of right now, I'll make my predictions. I think it's the rookie. I think Ariante Ursery wins the battle. I think he wins the right tackle job, and I think he could be ended up being your day one starter at right tackle. That's my hot take right there. Is Ariante Ursery is going to end up being your right tackle day one. What does that mean for Blake Fisher? Doesn't mean anything. Blake Fisher, hey, it is what it is. He's a second-round pick. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I don't care. I want the best 5 guys. Whoever wins the competition battles deserves to be starting for this team week 1. Whether that's Ariante Ursery, whether that's Ladarius Henderson, who cares? At the end of the day, the Houston Texans have to figure out who the best 5 is, because the number one priority is making sure CJ Stroud stays upright. That is the number one thing you have to worry about going into 2025. And this Houston Texans O-line room, at the end of the day, I do believe they end up playing about average. I think that's a big upgrade considering last year we were one of the worst teams, 54 sacks, I believe, for CJ Stroud. Yeah, that has to change, and the Texans know it. The Houston Texans O-line room gets back to playing average O-line football. You can continue to address the offensive line as much more going into next year as well. Let me know down in the comments whether I missed anything down below. All line, talk about it. Swarm in the comments. Hit up a swarm. If you ain't got nothing on your mind, drop a swarm in the comment section. I already know how you're doing. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.